Which position group is better? Wide receivers or defensive backs? And then what does Auburn have to do between now and fall to make the most out of this 2025 season?
In the world full of podcasts, he's the undisputed heavyweight champion of hot takes, an Auburn sports homer, master of the boog, and message board legend. Get your buttons buttoned and your hats flattened because the Top Button Podcast is about to kick off. And you don't want to miss your courtside seat. Now, here's your host, Charlie Five.
Yes, sir. We're back. It's another episode of the Top Button Podcast. I always get hung up. It's only you. I only get hung up when it's you. It's Kyle Rush, a.k.a. Charlie Five, and my buddy Ben Taylor with a little bonus episode, Ben Taylor from the Auburn Network. We're going to talk a little bit more about the spring game, DBs versus wide receivers, and then what's left. What does Auburn have to do between now and fall? Could it be portal? Is it cleaning some things up? Whatever it is to get ready for the 2025 season to really set things off. We're going to talk about that here in just a moment. But before we do that, we got to give a quick shout out to Uncle Keith's Red Sauce. Go to unclekeithsredsauce.com. Use coupon code TheBarn25 to take 25% off. I cannot get enough of the comments, the reviews, people in the last show telling me they found it at their local Piggly Wiggly. They finally found it at their Publix. It's the best salsa you can buy off the counter. I mean, it's unreal. If you love salsa with a little Southern kick, you need to give it a try. If you live in the state of Alabama and you live close to a Publix, you can try it there. If not, go online, save big with that coupon code and buy in bulk. Uncle Keith's Red Sauce. It's good, y'all.
So the Top Button Podcast, could we be any more? If those who are watching on YouTube, you're as top button as it gets, and I'm about as anti-button as it gets.
You have no buttons. You're the No Button Podcast.
The No Button Podcast. Listen, that hamburger meat is looking good there on the. Am I right?
Oh yeah, sex appeal, baby. That's what we're doing. The bonus episode is all about sex appeal.
That's what we're going for. So, Kyle, I got to ask you the 8-day recap. I mean, no game, but still there's stuff to learn from it. They even did a little, let's just call it a little mini scrimmage there towards the end where they did go full on. I mean, guys covering guys, a little popping, getting the pads on. I still wish they would have done that for the flag football game with the alums, but they didn't. But
complete disaster.
But what do we take from it? In a glorified practice / scrimmage / hey, let's run that again, do it. I mean, they may run the same play 5 times in a row because coaches don't like what they see.
Sure.
So what can fans take away from Saturday besides the fun experience of being able to meet players, get autographs and pictures, but from what the product they saw on the field, what's a good 8-day takeaway?
Sure. It's tough because there's so many players that were out. I mean, you had Jackson Arnold, who was sidelined with a hammy. Nothing serious. And again, if you were a member of the barnauburn.com, we actually talked about this on Friday. Don't expect him to play because he got dinged up a little bit in Friday's practice. So he didn't play. You had a couple of offensive linemen that didn't play. So when you hear the reports about, you couldn't find a lot of running room in the run game, or maybe the pass rush was getting in a little bit quicker, like, could you really take much away from that? Because the left tackle that you spent so much for in the portal and then your starting center that's an NFL prospect, both of those guys were out. I think the biggest thing that you take away is, number one, you had some wins on both sides of the ball. You had some wins on the offensive side of the ball, whether they be consistent or not. Like, you did have some big plays. You had Perry Thompson, had some really big catches, a couple of touchdown catches. You had Cam Coleman in the 7-on-7 pass Skelly section catch some really big passes, a really pretty back shoulder touchdown that you're like, man, okay, Cam's not changed. Cam's still the same guy. He may be even better. Malcolm Simmons catches a touchdown over the middle. Basically, all the receivers that you feel really, really good about, all of them did really well. And then you throw in Perry Thompson, which is like a bonus on top of that. And then Deuce Knight is going to be the real deal.
Mm-hmm.
Deuce Knight is every bit of the 5-star that we thought he would be, but he's still a freshman.
Mhm.
He showed both of those aspects, I think, Saturday, which has been, for the most part, I think, the story of his spring. I'm way ahead of where I was expected to be, but I'm still a freshman. Like, I'm still going to do those things that make you scratch your head. I'm still going to throw some stuff over the middle because I'm still thinking I'm at Greene County High School in Mississippi, and I can rip that ball over the middle against, insert, Podunk, Mississippi high school team.
The kid that's
And
gonna be an accountant later is who he threw that ball against. Not
exactly. I'm going to rip one over the middle and think that it's just like high school, and it's going to
yeah.
get picked off by Anquan Fagans or Eric Winters, who are unreal. I think that's kind of the biggest takeaways. Offense, I feel like maybe a little bit ahead of schedule based off of what you could see with what's available. Defense is still going to be really good. And then Deuce Knight, I think, has all the tools to be. I mean, honestly, I don't think this is too much sunshine pumping. I mean, he's 6'4", 200 pounds with a rocket arm. I think he has all the tools to be a generational quarterback.
Here comes the boog. Here it comes.
The boog, baby. The boog's coming.
But, it's funny because when you talk about Deuce Knight, it all goes back to stuff like that, like you said about he still makes freshman mistakes. He still is getting used to game speed. Something that stuck out in my mind, and he's on the Auburn broadcast, and I don't mind calling his name out because he's made this statement publicly, and we interviewed him when he was still in the pros. Will Herring, who is part of the Auburn University broadcast, one thing that we asked him one time, we said, how everybody always talks about the speed going from Auburn to the pros. And he said, I got to be honest with you. And the Will played at that time, Opelika was a 6A high school and played a lot of 7A clubs, leading into when they weren't, playing region games. And so it's kind of odd because Will said, I had a bigger adjustment going from Opelika to Auburn than I did going from Auburn to playing in the pros. Because when he played at Auburn, he said, we had some pretty good teams. I mean, when you look back at that 2004 year and what those guys did, and or was it 01? Was 01 or 04? Yeah, it was 04. And so when you look back at that year that he had, he said, think about the guys I played with. I mean, we had 3 first-round draft picks. So he said, four first. He said, so when I got
2 on defense,
I was playing with. He said I was playing against guys that weren't drafted in the first round. So it was. And he said, look at the competition we played against in the SEC. And he said, that's not to take anything away. You still had to get used to it. He said, but it was such a big change going from high school to Southeastern Conference type DBs because of what you just said, and he played quarterback in high school. People forget that. Yes, he also played
triple option, baby.
Yeah, exactly. So he said, getting back there at a DB position in college, he said, those guys were moving, man, when they came across. Like, it took a lot to get used to. So I think Deuce is going to be just fine. I think that, people that say, because I think Mike G had tweeted out he had not thrown an interception in practice thus far. And he threw one, of course. He threw a pick in the scrimmage that was taking place, or the 7. I forgot if it was the Skelly 7-on-7 drills or if
I think
it was
both.
The scrimmage. So threw a couple of interceptions on Saturday. But you know what? He had a little bit of a crowd there, Kyle. I think the juices get to flowing. Maybe tried to force a ball in where he shouldn't have forced it. Or maybe he thought a receiver would be somewhere where the receiver wasn't. Because at one point in time, I think one of the INTs I saw, he threw it right to somebody. So I think it's just a misread. But I think Auburn fans have a lot to be excited about. I mean, Jackson Arnold, former 5-star, which, by the way, I saw a stat the other day that I thought was really freakish, that in the Southeastern Conference, the only 5-star that is with their original team is Arch Manning.
That's pretty crazy.
5-star quarterback. The only one still with their original team is Arch Manning.
That's wild.
And so, then that points to Jackson Arnold, not with Oklahoma and sitting there being here with us. So
for sure,
it will be interesting to see. You mentioned Thompson. You mentioned Coleman. You mentioned some of those guys. I mean, when we talk about DBs and wide receivers, I know you got to get to something, but let's talk about that here momentarily and kind of break that down a little bit.
Yeah, let's break down DBs versus wide receivers here in a second. But before we do that, we got to give a quick shout out to mybookie.ag. Use coupon code BARN for a 50% deposit bonus, BARN, up to $1,000. So give them $100. They're going to give you 50 back on top to play with. You got Major League Baseball, you got NBA still going almost every single day. I would wager, no pun intended, every single day. You probably got some sort of sporting event, some sort of line you can get some action on. Easy deposits, easy withdrawals. Check them out, mybookie.ag. And then Ben's got it on, man. Ben's got the rowback on right now.
Yeah, look at that.
You need to give, once you win big on mybookie.ag, you need to head to rowback.com, use coupon code BUTTON20, even if you don't want to button up like Ben, even if you want to just let her hang, use coupon code BUTTON20 to take 25% off. Ben, how's that shirt feel?
Oh, I love it. I mean, it's two of my favorites that I got. I got an orange and blue one too, by the way.
Rowback's probably known for their more zany prints, but you got the classic stripes like Ben's got on right now. You can get pretty much anything there. Show them some love, rowback.com. We'll be back right after this.
All right, so DBs versus wide receivers. Who won the day? And the reason I say that is because all you hear about is wide receivers, wide receivers. However, there have been many people tweeting, writers talking about it. It's been written. I'm sure the Barn has it as well, where this could be one of the best defensive backfields in the Southeastern Conference. And the athleticism back there is just it's unbelievable of what Auburn has got and what they're going to have coming. So if they can shore up the front, defensive front, I mean, this defense could be a little bit better than what people are giving them credit for.
Your defensive back room, and I've talked about it, I feel like the defensive back room may be the most underrated position group, maybe in college football. I think they have a really good chance to be mega elite, and you just get to go up against it's iron sharpening iron. You get to go up against this wide receiver room, and honestly, I think the defensive back room, granted, wide receivers are dependent on the quarterback, but I think the defensive back room may have gotten the best of the wide receiver room at 8A. I think there was a total of like 4 or 5 interceptions. I think Deuce maybe have thrown 3. Now, pass skeleton is different because you're throwing it every play. So, like, you got a bunch of opportunities. The ball's in the air. You're not running the ball. So, they know it's a pass every single time. But I think maybe in the scrimmage, Deuce threw an interception to Anquan Fagans. And, Ben, check this out. We're talking about how awesome the defensive back room is. As far as the spring portal goes, the only position that Auburn's got guys in the portal currently is defensive back. You got 2 safeties that have declared to go into the portal, and I love both of those guys. I love Terrence Love. I love him. I love his name, and regardless. And I also love C.J. Johnson. But Auburn continue to hit on these young freshman defensive backs and these safeties, Anquan Fagans, Eric Winters. They're unreal. You can't keep them off the field. They're that good this young. So it's not surprising that some guys will just say, hey, even though I've been here 2 or 3 years, I can't beat these guys out. Like, it just kind of is what it is. I got to go do what I got to do. So if you got to pick one right now, I don't know that there's an argument one way or the other. The wide receiver room is nasty. The defensive back room is nasty, and what a blessing it is. Here's the thing you got to worry about, Ben. You got guys like Kayin Lee, who is probably an NFL draft pick. If he's getting what you got to worry about with him is his headspace, especially if it's like, hey, I'm getting abused by Cam Coleman, who's one of the best players in college football. But I'm a really damn good defensive back. Do I let that get into my head? That to me is the psychology of it. Like, hey, look, don't let getting whooped in practice bother you. You're going to win some, you're going to lose some. You might lose more than you win. It doesn't change the fact that you're still one of the better defensive backs in college football. You're just going up against some juggernauts, some avatars at wide receiver. It's a fun battle group to watch, like back and forth spring, and it'll be fun in fall too.
You mentioned the iron and sharpening iron. I mean, that's another thing that I think some of these DBs, they've done nothing but face these Auburn receivers and the room that comes with it. And right now you've only got 2 quarterbacks throwing to them and all that kind of good stuff. I think when the season begins and when they start facing some of these other teams that don't have the talent 1 through, let's just call it 1 through 5 that Auburn has at the wide receiver spot,
maybe 1 through 6 or 7.
Yeah, it could be
I'll
1
go
through
with
6.
5.
And that's the thing is, I mean, a lot of these other teams, it's going to be 1 through 3, not 1 through 5, not 1 through 6. And so, not that they can take plays off, but I think, like you just talked about, I think that headspace is going to be fine after the first couple of games because they're going to sit there and go, these guys are nothing compared to what I was facing Tuesday of this week. I mean, this is not that it's going to be easy. I just think it's like you just said, when you face that competition every day and you go up against somebody that their 3 guy ain't the 3 guy that Auburn has, then you're going to realize, okay, now it's starting to click and it's starting to come
it's
together.
just like swinging a weighted bat. Like
Yeah.
you swing a weighted bat and the weight of the bat doesn't change, but for whatever reason, when you pull that weight off, it feels like you're swinging a feather. You know what I mean? It's the same concept. Like you're going up against the best of the best. This is what Georgia and Alabama and all these teams could sell for so many years. It's like, hey, look, we have an environment that you can't really compare elsewhere. Like you may can go find, more money under the table, this, that, and the other, playing time. But the fact is, development a lot of time is just repetitions and then the competition that you're going up against. And if you're going up against the best, you're going up against a bunch of 5-stars every single day. When you go cover a 3-star or heck, when you go cover a 4-star, you're going to feel comfortable. You're going to feel confident because there ain't no way that guy's better than the guy I've been covering all dang week that's just been, abusing me, that makes me lose sleep at night. Like there's no way that guy's going to be better. So I think it just helps everybody out exponentially. It's unlike it's been at Auburn in a very, very long time between these 2 position groups, I think.
Yeah, and they're not going to face a lot of people with the catch radius of Perry Thompson and Cam Coleman. I mean,
he put it on display. Perry Thompson put it on display too, catching it laid out, diving. I mean, you put it in the vicinity, and these guys are going to make plays.
Yeah, just give them a chance. Well, we've sat here and we've bugged a lot.
Yeah.
So now I got to ask you the tough question of what do we need moving forward? Fall's going to be here before we know it. I mean, because there are no such thing as OTAs yet. That's something Hugh's working on. Maybe Coach Freeze gets that by next year. But right now, no OTAs. So when they get done and they wrap, they'll still do their off-season stuff. Jackson Arnold has said he's not going to the Manning camp. He's going to stay here and work with his receivers throughout the summer. So got that going for him. But still, there's some other needs. Got some running backs that are going to be coming in. So that's going to be a point of emphasis. Offensive linemen that have been having to sit out due to injury. They'll be back on the field. But what does Auburn need? Defensive linemen, linebackers, a proven leader that may be sick of what he's doing and he may be an upperclassman somewhere else and he wants to come and help mentor somebody. I mean, what does Auburn need?
Right now, Auburn's biggest need is to get healthy. There's no question about it. You got the guys. You know what I mean? Like you're missing your starting left tackle for spring, which, by the way, not super serious. He was wearing pads. He was fully dressed. No sense in rushing it. Your starting center, no sense in rushing it. Keldrick Falk did not participate in a lot of contact stuff. We all know he's probably going to be a draft pick, and so on and so forth. Getting healthy is the name of the game right now. If Auburn can get healthy, you've got some dudes that can make some stuff happen, especially along that offensive line. I think after going through like position by position, I did this on my show a couple of weeks ago. I went position group by position group. And I think if I had to pick a spot where I was like, Auburn really needs to go get at least one guy, there's 2. I think linebackers 1. I think you have some, and Hugh actually mentioned this in his post A-Day press conference. You have some mega talented young guys. There is no question about it. Like you got young guys who are, jump off the page with athleticism and talent. But do you have that veteran that you can stick in the middle, that's that leader that everybody's going to look at and respect, that can call the defense? I mean, you do that a lot with the middle linebacker. Like you have that guy that can take charge and call the defense and you can trust to be out there. A lot of guys, it could be that guy. A lot of guys that very well you could depend on. Is there that proven guy? No. So if you could find some help there, I could see Auburn upgrading maybe there. And then defensive linemen, it's a lot of the same. I mean, you got Keldrick Falk, and then you got a bunch of young guys.
Yeah.
So could you find another veteran, that 6'6", 6'5", 270, 280-pound guy that's flex? Philip Bleedy. Just look at Philip Bleedy.
No.
There's nothing like from last year. There was nothing about Philip Bleedy that screamed first round draft pick, like mega difference maker, but it's a guy that you knew could go in there, take meaningful snaps, and you had nothing to worry about. You knew
he was a plug and play.
Plug and play guy.
It helps to have a plug and play guy.
And there were times where he had enough talent where he could actually take over game and affect the game a lot of times. So to me, Hugh, it was funny. Hugh mentioned 4 positions in general. He said a pass rusher, which I don't know that I necessarily see that need, but whatever. You can't turn them down. An interior defensive lineman, which we just talked about, a senior-ish linebacker, which we just talked about. And then he said you never turn down a cover guy. Ben, if I asked you a question, if I said which side of the ball do you feel most comfortable about, which would it be, offense or defense?
I would probably say offense just because I'm excited about what the running back room looks like, as well as offensive linemen that are supposed to get healthy. And we clearly know what the wide receiver room is going to be like.
Yeah.
And I still think Jackson Arnold can play a 5-star quarterback position, whether people believe that or not, from what they saw at Oklahoma when he was throwing to his 7th best receiver.
Well, you're the only one that's said that. So I think 9 out of 10 people would say, I feel really good about defense. But Hugh said there's 4 positions on defense you're looking at. And he said, I think we're good on offense. I think we're good. I don't think there's necessarily anybody we're really going for on offense. Mm-hmm. Now, that all depends on, as Hugh said, who leaves in this portal period that opens up on tomorrow. So who leaves in the next, from tomorrow, I guess 10 or 14 days, however long the actual portal's open. But he feels confident about the offensive side. And it's funny because I feel confident about the defensive side. So we'll see what happens. Again, health is number one, is what Auburn needs between now and then. And then those 1 or 2 game-changing spots that you could find somebody that if they materialize could fit and just sort of put the icing on the cake of this team. Because I think it's the most talent. Honestly, I really do think top to bottom is probably the most talented team. Talent doesn't always equal wins.
No.
Most talented team Auburn's had maybe since 2019. I think you may have to go all the way back to that team to find, you look at defensive line, you look at, quarterback, wide receivers, offensive line, everything. You probably got to go back that far. And that team won 9 games, 9-3. Yep. Had a chance to win 10 and kind of blew it in the Outback Bowl. So, yeah, just shore up a few spots, and I think you're kind of ready to go.
I love it.
I love it, man. So, Ben, thanks for joining us. If you want to listen to Ben, you can find you. Where can they find you, Ben? Every day.
News Talk WANI Monday through Friday. We do sports just after 7. So we got Top Button Tuesday, Double D Mondays. Daryl Dapprich, a lot of y'all know them, as well as Zach Blackerby. We'll do a Locked On Wednesday as well. So you guys be sure to log on to aunetwork.com. Click on the WANI logo. You can stream us from there.
There you go, guys. You know where to find me every single day. It's another episode of the Top Button Podcast, bonus edition. Stay buttoned.
Thanks for listening and drive home safely.